But let me ask you as a parent today, what financial values are you passing to your children? Will they also look back tomorrow and wish that that influence was better than the one you are giving them today? Because there are very many things that many parents are doing today which negatively influence their children, and they will eat up their children in future. Stop the habit of sending your children to pick items on credit on your behalf. Stop sending your children to be the ones going to borrow money, to be the one going to borrow things on your behalf. And especially where you send them to go and pick things from shops and tell them that you will pay later in the day, later in the month, later in the week. What you're doing is that you are normalizing consumer debt in the life of your child. They grow up knowing it is normal to borrow for consumption. It is normal to borrow for unga. It's normal to borrow for food. It's normal to borrow for recurrent expenditure, because that is what they saw their parents do. Secondly, stop glorifying debt in front of your children. I have heard you speak very many things to glorify debt. I've heard you say that you cannot survive without debt. You know, in this country, even the country itself is indebted. So no one can survive without borrowing. What you're doing is that you're also normalizing debt for your children. In future, instead of giving priority to planning themselves, they will be living recklessly, knowing that even from their own parents, they learned that they can actually survive on borrowing. Stop justifying brokenness. There are very many parents who justify brokenness, okay? You will hear them say, it's normal in life for you to have money today and not to have money tomorrow. Where I am today, it's just part of it. It is okay, ni panda shuka za maisha and those things, okay? When you justify brokenness, your children will not actually understand that it is possible for them to actually plan themselves differently, organize their finances differently to avoid brokenness, because it's possible. You're just forcing them to continue believing in the things that you believed in that have delivered you to where you are today, this place that you're not happy with, right? And before we know it, if we are not deliberate to cut this link from flowing to our children, we are going to make the trap of debt look like an intergenerational curse, because it's going to flow from generation to generation. Mind the way you handle your creditors, the people you owe money, in front of your children. Some of you will start sending your children to lie on your behalf. I've seen some of you give your children your mobile phones for them to lie to your creditors that you are not at home, okay? For them to lie that you've forgotten the phone at home. What you don't know is that you are creating a future serial defaulter, okay? And the consequences of default are not interesting. So be careful. The things you do before your own children, the things you say before your own children, the words you speak about money, and especially debt. Be cautious, because your influence in your child's life today might make them or break them in the days to come. You can do better as a parent.